Hi everyone. I was talent acquisition director until last Tuesday. Now I'm head of TA. All happened very quickly, so sorry. So I am going to start off with a little bit of an explanation why you can see these two photos here. So the first one is why I'm stood here, as in Mark's got me to stand up here, off the back of us winning the Best Place to Work award at the IHR Awards last November. The second photo is also one of the reasons why I'm stood here today. So that is my 3 and 5-year-old daughters. And at the end of last year, I took them into the office with me. And they then continued to just say they wanted to be just like Mummy when they grew up. And it got me thinking about the type of inspiration I would have wanted to see when I was their age. So I set myself out a little challenge at the start of this year to do something new or uncomfortable, hard, challenging, whatever you like to look at it, every single month. So far this year, I have done everything from running a half marathon, travelling Jordan on my own, climbing Penny Fan with my 3 and 5-year-old, who, yes, did make it right to the top, and my 5-year-old walked every single step, to my dream challenge, which is standing here in front of you guys today. You might be able to tell in my voice that this is petrifying. So be kind to me. If I'd been asked to do this last year, I would have run a mile. So this is my dream challenge, to tell you about Cooper Parry's journey and my personal journey as well with them. So, hands up who's heard of Cooper Parry in this room. No pressure. Yeah, not many people, right? So, hands up who thinks accountancy is boring. No pressure. Yeah. Grey, suits, boring, geeky. Yeah, I get it. Strangely, I actually trained as an accountant a long time ago, and I got out of it and moved into recruitment because I was bored of being surrounded by boring people. And somehow I'm back in the accounting world. So I am going to tell you a little bit about who Cooper Parry are before I go on to show you a little bit of a snapshot of the inside culture. So Cooper Parry, we're one of the fastest UK growing accounting firms. Over the last 3 years, we've been private equity backed, and we've gone from being top 50 to where we would sit as of today in the top 10 accounting firms. To put some context to that, that's gone from 300 employees to 1,800 employees where we are now. Lots of acquisitions, lots of organic growth. And turnover-wise has gone from 30 million to 250 million. And our next growth plan is to get to 1 billion by 2030. How are we going to do it? How I'm going to support? I don't have all the answers to that, but I'm going to give it a good go. So we've got about 5 hubs across the UK. We're branching into South Africa and Philippines as we speak. And yeah, we're all about being the rebels of accountancy and disrupting, leading, and make life count. So I'll go into a little bit about what that means later, but I just wanted to show you a little video to just turn that view of what accountancy looks like to you into a reality of what our accountancy world looks like. There was a nice image on here, but it was messing with the sound, so excuse the blank slide, okay? still have the view that we're grey, boring, and unsociable. Yeah, it looks a little bit different, right? So how have we created that as a boring accounting firm to where we've gone now? So the message was from our CEO, who took over about 15 years ago. He wanted to create a firm that had a queue of people outside that wanted to work for them. Well, how do you do that when you're a top 50 firm in the middle of East Midlands, opposite East Mids Airport? Not a great talent attraction piece. And you just look like everyone else, and no one knows who you are. So he and our chief people officer got their heads together and worked around how to design the best place to work. And they started really basic with values. Now, how many people work currently or have worked at a company where they talk about values, but no one knows what they mean? They don't resonate with people. They're set by the leaders. And actually, your day-to-day people are like, what does that mean? How does that relate to what I do? So we started with 5 core values. Be brave, play all in, be nice, keep learning, and we're in it together. Now, I'm not sure there's anyone in this room that can't say they can resonate with every single one of those values. So that was the starting point. Okay, so we've got the values. Now, what does that mean? So, and how do we make sure that people really live and breathe them? So we recruit to them. Your probation is reviewed against them. Your mid-year is reviewed against them. And your end of year is reviewed against them. All the way from your entry-level recruit all the way up to our CEO. And if anyone at any point is not living and breathing those values, they get called out. In the accounting world, it's all about how much fee earners bring to the table. Now, often, whoever's the biggest fee earner can behave however they like, right? We've all had those toxic leadership people where, oh, yeah, we know they're not very nice, but, they bring a lot of money to the table. Doesn't matter in Cooper Parry. We'll call you out, and if we need to exit you, we will exit you if you're toxic, because our culture is so important to us that we cannot afford to let it slip. Now, obviously, I touched on our growth plans. How do you continue that culture with a growth plan to $1 billion turnover? It's by being really, really true and core to everything that we do. So we started with that. What then that bred was like a slogan, a distinctive and true brand. So that's where disrupting, leading and making life count came from. So disrupting, let's challenge everyone else in that industry. Why be grey? Why not be pink? Got pink nails, so got a green dress on, Cooper Parry colours, right? Let's shake it up. Let's be different. Let's do things that the rest of the industry are too scared to do. Let's lead. That's not saying we're going to be the next PwC. I know there's someone in here today from PwC, no offence. But we know we're not going to compete with you. But what we do want to do is be the best in our market. And that means that we need the best people coming to work and being their best selves. How do you do that? By giving them some freedom, some trust, and some time back to make their life count so that when they come to work, they are the best version that they can be. Creating a high-performance individual, creating a high-performance team, creating a high-performance company. And that's what we're all about. So how have we done that? So we started off creating the coolest offices. So we've won awards for the coolest offices in the UK and Europe. Obviously, you just saw a little snapshot of one there. We wanted to create an environment that people wanted to come and work in. They could have fun with their friends. They could feel like if they needed to get their heads down and focus, they can do. If they want to go play table tennis, have a beer, they can do. They've got a space for anything that they possibly want to do to make them be the best version. We then followed with a work from anywhere, anytime, forever policy. That was way before COVID. So groundbreaking in the accounting world, right? Where people are working 60, 70 hours a week. So what does that mean? You can literally work wherever, as long as there's no tax implications past 6 weeks, right? So if that means you need to work at home all week, you can do. We are continuing to do that. If you're from Australia and you want to go back home and see your family, you can work from there too. It's really, really flexible. It is literally what it says. We then followed that with unlimited holiday, again, unheard of in the accounting world. What do you mean you allow people to have unlimited holiday? How do you possibly claim that back? Well, yes, we still obviously have metrics that we work through, but we do allow people to have the time when they need it, and as long as it has no impact on the business. We then followed with trialing the 4-day working week. So at this point, people are going, what the hell are you guys doing, right? You're just letting people pay people to do nothing. No, you have to be productive. It's a high-performance environment. But if you get everything that you need to do in your working week in 4 days, absolutely take a day off. And what we've realised is by giving people the trust and transparency and the freedom, it has evolved in us getting the best productivity, the best people who aren't resentful, who want to come into the office, they want to work hard because they can get all of this at the end of it. And it's truly changed the way. So I've talked a lot about our culture. What does that mean from an attraction piece? So have we got a queue of people queuing at our door? The answer is yes. Not for every single role. In the accounting industry, you have some really hard to fill roles. But everyone knows the big four names, right? We're here, we're winning the war on talent against the big four. Again, sorry, whoever's in the room. Because people want something different. They don't want to sell their soul forever. They want to come and they want to feel like they can be their truly authentic selves. I'm probably a good representation of people showing their true authentic self here today. We have driven, so our industry average is 65% reliance on agency hires. We're currently sat at 4.4%. Now, the Haynes Watts colour here was a company I actually got acquired from back in 2023. So my in-house recruiter doing the same job in the same location, in the same industry, has gone from 67% reliance on agency to 4.4. That is the impact of a great culture and a great employer brand and telling the right story out there. We share our vision, we share our initiatives, we don't hide anything, which again is quite unheard of. People feel often like they have to not tell their competitors what they're doing. We're not scared about that. But what this is telling us is that we are leading the way on it because we're putting our people first. We're the largest B Corp accredited accountancy firm in the UK. So it's not just me saying this. We have to show the stats that back it up to say we are purpose-driven. We care for the purpose of what we're doing, for our people and for our planet. And all of that is an amazing story to then take to the candidate market because they genuinely feel that we care about them. It doesn't take away that we do expect them to work hard, but at the same time, they feel like they're getting a bit of their life to be able to do what they want to do. So I've touched on it there. What's my journey in all of this? So I've talked about how great Cooper Parry are, right? And yeah, so what's the challenge? There's lots of challenges. With a hyper-growth business, there's lots of processes and infrastructure that's not there. But I'll go back to 2023. So I was the head of TA at Haynes Watts, as I mentioned. I'd always followed Cooper Parry because I was like, why can't we just do what they're doing? And we tried, and it was impossible to get the leaders on board with offering flexibility, with giving trust, with wanting to push the boundaries, they were too safe. So 2023 came and I got called into the office and it was like, Cooper Parry are buying us. Oh shit, sorry. I followed them for 7 years, and they look really cool, but what does that mean now? So all of a sudden I started doing some research and I was like, but is it just a marketing ploy? Is it real? Is it this? Is it that? Maybe it's just a couple of people that really trust this. Well, I can truly stand here and say it isn't. It is truly what you see is what you get. But it's not for everyone. You have to work hard, and some weeks you don't get any flexibility. But you can have all of that flexibility if you work smart and you work hard. So that was my 2023 journey. My 2024 journey, I took on the early careers team, which was not scalable. It had no systems, no processes. Everything was on Excel spreadsheets, and it was chaos. So I had to learn Cooper Parry, learn their manual processes, implement new processes, and hire their biggest ever in early careers intake. I didn't get much flexibility at the beginning of that process, I can tell you that. I've never worked so hard in my life. But to then come to the IHR Awards in November, to be shortlisted for an early careers award, wow, we didn't win, but to be shortlisted from what I came into, I'll take it. And to then pick up best place to work. As you can see there, it's like me picking up an Oscar. Might have had a few drinks by that point. And fast forward to today, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, I've gone through my own journey. It hasn't always been plain sailing, but I truly believe we are building something really special. And as of last week, I got promoted to the head of TA role. So my journey has gone from kind of down here, up here, down here, to back up here. And I'm super excited about what I can now and where I can now take Cooper Parry to get us to that £1 billion turnover. However, I'm going to do that. So a few key takeaways. If you're looking at how do you change your culture, your brand, your story, everything that we've talked about from all the speakers here today, be brave. So many companies are scared of being different. So you just look at your competitors and you just revamp a little bit different to what they're doing. Rip it up and start again. What happens? If it goes wrong, so what? Start again. If you never try, it's never going to be any different. Listen to your people. So we survey every single employee, all the way up from leadership down, every single week. We ask them for a rating out of 10 and when we give them an open door, and every single one gets reviewed every single week. Listen to them and keep checking it. What makes someone happy one day might not make them happy the next. Don't just assume that surveying once will always get you the right outcome. Stay true to the reality. I'm sure we've all been in an opportunity where you've sold the dream to a candidate and you know that reality isn't there. It's painful, right? Let's not do it. Let's make sure that everything you do is really, really true to reality. So when people walk through that door, they're like, yeah, they told me about this. I doubted it, but it is true. Keep it simple, relatable to everyone. I think often we overcomplicate things. It doesn't need to be. People like to feel like they understand what they're talking about, what they're feeling, what they're coming into. Just make it simple. Trust your people, a big one. A lot of people, lots of people in this room today saying, people are being asked to come back into the offices. I know lots of our competitors are mandating 2-3 days in the office. Just trust your people, right? Like, it's the minority that take the mick, not the majority. Call people out, all the way to the top. As I say, we do call people out. That is your culture. If you let too many toxic people into your business that you don't call out, all of a sudden your culture's gone. and it's wrong. It's not okay for it to just be one person or one team. Call it out. And most importantly, have a lot of fun along the way. Often we miss that and we get so bogged down in the day-to-day and the busyness and the pressure. Lift your head up, take your team out, have a laugh, and make it a fun experience. So I'm going to finish with just one last image, because often, I know a lot of you haven't heard of Cooper Parry. We're not a new business. We've been around since the 1800s. So I thought I'd just show a little image of us from the 1900s to show the journey that we've been on. It's a bit different, right? And I just want to finish with one final quote. If you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude. That's all for me. Thank you for listening, and I hope you found that useful.